Good evening everybody, Calm Biker here, and what a lovely evening it is. Look at those God rays coming from the sun. The conspiracy theories was I was thinking there, if the sun's so far away, why do the rays come out in all those different directions? Huh? It's my first evening ride of the year. We're coming up to the end of April, properly in spring. As I was getting the bike out, I was thinking, this is lovely, the sun on my back as I'm checking the tyre pressures and the oil level and everything. That's all disappeared though, you know, up there behind that cloud now. But even so, it's still nice, and it's nice to be able to have my tea and then come out for a little ride. I've got Graham, Adventure with Woody. Used to be Adventures with Woody, but it's Adventure with Woody now, for all those people who've asked me where he's gone. He's ahead of me on his monkey bike, and we're off to meet Chris, and we're just going to have a little pootle around, to be honest, and a cup of tea. He was keen, wasn't he? I don't know, I'm too Yorkshire. I already get too much wear on the rear tyre, and the rear's the expensive one. Stoppies make sense to save money, wheelies not so much. Anyway, I wanted to have a little grumble. We live in a time where the truth seems to be twisted greatly, as often as possible, to the political whims of one person or another. We also live in this time of left and right. I'm not going to even talk about that from being one of the talking points I'm going to talk about, but you'll be able to guess whether I mean left or right. The whole left or right thing has me baffled. The fact that people will decide they are one or the other and then live their life by it, no matter what happens and no matter what they agreed with last week, they'll change their mind to agree with the new talking point of their particular side the following week. And that's on both of those sides of the political spectrum. Whereas I don't really see myself as either of those, really. Some people would say I'm more to the left, and others would say I'm more to the right. And I think that's because I'm probably squarely planted in the middle, sitting on the fence. That's something I'm generally not accused of. But one of these talking points came up the other day, and I saw it on a clip on the internet, I think on Reddit. Somebody had posted this clip of a television news, and I'll say news, channel. I think the particular channel involved actually has news in the name, but officially claims they are not a news channel because they'd have to be balanced or impartial according to the rules in this country. So they call themselves news, but then they say, if challenged, that they're not. But they were making a point about the disabled, and they were saying, did you know, and this is with horror, did you know 1 in 4 people in this country are disabled or claim to be disabled and are taking benefits for being disabled? And it was one of those talking points that basically is saying, aren't the disabled a waste of money? Now, I happen to know some disabled people, and they're far from a waste of money. They're lovely people. They just need a bit of help occasionally. And it was also saying, aren't young people feckless, just pretending to be disabled so that they can get money? And I thought, okay, that's an interesting take on things. And, you know, various other of those talking points that I'm sure everybody will be aware of. And I kind of went away from it. It was rage bait. It was televisual rage bait, just designed to get you angry and get you talking to other people who are of that particular persuasion, to pick out a group that's disadvantaged and say they are the reason for this country's ills. When if you think for not very long, you realise that It's not the people at the bottom who are the problem. Anyway, that aside, got a bit political there, didn't I kind of went, yeah, whatever, and moved on. And then I was watching another thing the other day, different day, in fact this one was yesterday, and it was a chap who talks about investment things and pensions and all that kind of stuff, and he came up with the same thing. Now he wasn't, or I don't think he's of that particular persuasion generally, but he came up with the same talking point, the 1 in 4 disabled, and I felt the need at that point to then comment and say, hang on, you're repeating this claim and it's rubbish. And I'll tell you why I know that this claim is rubbish. It's because I'm in the 1 in 4. So I'll tell you what it actually means. And this goes back to the COVID times, when people who've been watching my channel for a while will know that I was involved in the not the trials, the blood tests and the understanding how it was spreading, all that kind of thing. So I was doing swabs every month, sometimes every week. I was giving blood tests every week or every month, depending on how far into it we were. I got a little bit of money for doing it, and that paid for this jacket. And I've carried on doing it since, not for money, just for the free ones. You know, they'd say to you, would you mind carrying on answer these questions? It's the ONS, the Office for National Statistics. I say, yeah, why not? It doesn't cost me anything. It costs me a couple of minutes a month to fill in a questionnaire. And the ones at the moment are about availability of your doctor and pharmacies and nurses, and really about the NHS and private dentistry and NHS dentistry, all that kind of thing, and understanding how people are finding it and whether it's improving or getting worse and all that kind of thing. And in that thing they say, what do you do for a living? Do you work? Are you work part-time? Are you unemployed? Do you claim benefits? They ask you about any illnesses you might have had recently. Have you been to see the doctor? Have you been to a pharmacist? All these kind of things. And there's 2 questions that they ask you, and these are the questions that tell whether or not, according to these television and YouTube people, whether or not you are disabled. So I'll tell you what the questions are, and you have to answer yes to both of them to be put in that bracket of people that the ONS will not call disabled, let's just be clear, but these reports did. And let's see how many of you fit into this, and how many of those think you're disabled. So the first question is, do you have any illness or condition that is likely to last more than a year? The second question is, does that condition, or one of those conditions, impact your life or your ability to do normal everyday tasks? And you have 3 answers to this one. No, in which case you're not in that 25% group. Yes, a lot, in which case you are in the 25% group. Or yes, a little, in which case you are in the 25% group. So I'm in that group. I'm not disabled, but I do have asthma, and occasionally it affects my ability to do everyday things like go running when it's cold, and the cold air can trigger me getting breathless. So I tick yes, a little. So that means, according to the ONS, I'm in a bracket of people with a health condition that has a minor impact on my life. It doesn't affect me working. I work full time. I don't have any benefit claims whatsoever. I pay plenty of tax. I'm just a normal everyday person who happens to have said I've got asthma, and it can have a little bit of an impact on my life occasionally. But according to these people on the TV, I am a feckless person ripping off the system with all my benefit claims that I don't make. I should be out working, which I am, and I'm just a drain on society, and yet I'm paying in a plenty amount of tax. And there are many, many, many more of these where somebody has got a point. Obviously, yeah, I've said I'm not going to talk left, right. Obviously, that is a right-wing talking point. There are plenty of left-wing talking points that are equally stupid and equally stretched beyond any recognition of what the original question was about. And I think this is what's ruining the internet and what's ruining a lot of society. People are getting into these little buckets of people, these little echo chambers, believing all of this nonsense, getting angry about it, and rather than trying to understand each other, these groups are just alienating themselves from each other and building up this rage. And the rage bait video producers, they're really part of the problem. They are the sort of people who say, either I don't know that this isn't true, maybe I think it is true, but I can't be bothered to actually find out whether it's true or not. They might tell you to do your own research, but what they really don't want you to do is research that is actual research. They just want you to go and look at a video that supports their point of view. Or they are people who know that it's not true and are purposefully trying to annoy people into supporting their side of an argument, even though they know it's complete and utter horse. You know what. Going back to something I said many years ago, those people are donkey cavities. Never did make that t-shirt. If people put as much effort into giving out good news and actually saying how we can help each other and improve things for everyone, I think we'd be in a lot better place. Anyway, let me know what you think in them there comments. Thank you for watching, everybody. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.